Good morning, good evening, depending on which time zone you are. Welcome into our Great Chair podcast. This is episode number 3. As I have already shown, most of the themes in this podcast we will be talking about certain books which I feel are good. I'll be sharing some of the books I try to read through or learn through, and maybe also a few classics, a few famous books that we may have read, and we try to talk through them and maybe encourage you also to go and learn or look for them and or learn from them. So today we're going to talk about a book that deals with some psychological stuff like human behavior. So the title of this book is called Surrounded by Idiots, the 4 types of human behavior. Uh, of course, when you read the title, it's offensive. But this is some of the things when in writing that you can be able to 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 use to attract the readers or the marketing department or people from a publishing company can just advise you to choose a title which can attract the readers, the eye of the readers. At the end of the day, it's also about making sure when the reader passes through a bookshop or a library, will see the title and this title will stand out. Imagine no one wants to be called an idiot. So if you see a book say the idiot, it means you will definitely something will click. There is a defensive mechanism that goes on that in your brain. I'm not the idiot here. Who are these idiots? I want to learn about these idiots. Until you read through into the 4 types of human and you find yourself maybe you have been behaving as one. But here the intention of the reader, the author, was not to insult anyone. The intention of the author was about teaching the 4 types of human behavior because he is an expert in behavior stuff, psychological stuff. It really dives into the mechanism of what makes us tick or what makes us, how do we function as human behavior, as humans, how do we function. So for him, he divided like all the human behaviors into four colors. So there is a red one, there is a yellow one, there is a green one, and then there is a blue one. All these ones, he has different explanation about them. We will dive them through as we go through the book. So what can I tell you about the author? So Thomas Erickson, the author, happens to be a Swedish behavioral expert, lecturer, author, also known for his book on communication and personal development. This happens to be one of his most famous work, Surrounded by Idiots. It has been translated in 40 languages and has sold millions of copies worldwide. It's really a good book in terms of really, if you want to learn why you behave the certain way, or that somebody else is not behaving. So as I mentioned, Eric works on improving communication and leadership and personal development. He used the what we can call the DISC personality framework test, and that's what he did in these 4 colors. So what does DISC stand for? The D is for dominance. You see people who are always want to dominate everything, and the E is for influence, and S stands for steadiness or calmness, and C stands for consciousness. So people who do things, but while thinking about them, analyze them. He has worked, of course, as a consultant for many organizations. He has helped many leaders, teams, communication to understand the communication dynamics and improved productivity in different organizations. He's a public speaker, of course, on personal growth, leadership, communication, as mentioned above. And the books are filled with humor, including this one. It gives like detailed examples, practical, engaging, and so he tried to simplify things that we may consider as complex psychological themes. And he puts it in a language that you can be able to understand, you as a reader. So this is like taking one-on-one with a therapist, and you try to understand why you behave a certain way. So this book first came out in Swedish, of course, in 2014, but it's about trying to understand the four types of your behaviors. He wrote other books like Surrounded by Psychopaths. So he tried to use it different. Was 2019, Surrounded by Psychopaths, Surrounded by Bad Bosses in 2021. He tries to dive, as I mentioned, communication, leadership, and human behavior. In 2022, he also wrote another book called Surrounded by Narcissists. They all start with surrounded. So I think it's one of the way also you can use in marketing when you're writing a book and you try to imitate almost the title or the way the title starts. So what now can we learn from him? I think he writes also from personal experiences, the experiences he dealt with different personalities in his environment. So that's one of the things that you can look or find in his books. And he also, for him, he wants to help many people or organizations to understand and try to adapt to the different types of personalities. I think this is one of the things that he wants to help, and it's also a good thing, I think, for experts in psychology. When you write a book, it doesn't. It's like having a session with as many people out there who normally would not be able to come into your book. So even if he used this simplicity, but some people criticize that the book he makes it sound so easy. For example, you may find yourself categorized in a red or a yellow character or green or blue, but it don't necessarily mean you fit 100% in these ones. Sometimes you may be bluish, reddish. I will tell you, me myself, when I read through, I found that I'm both red and both blue. I will talk to you about it. So for him, this model, which he comes back, it just puts people in 4 categories of personality traits that are represented by these 4 colors: the red, the yellow, the green, and the blue. So this can help you strategize in interpersonal relationship. So now let's dive a bit into these personality types. The red color, who stands for dominance. These are the people that you will find they are so ambitious, competitive, action-oriented. They focus on results. They don't basically like to waste on time. Why are you still thinking about this? Basically, you can see it from military leaders, even in company, people who are just, let's do it. So for them, everything they may seem impassioned or aggressive. So how do you work with them? You try to be direct, respect their time. You have to focus on the result than the details. You know, that's how you work with these people who are in the red. Now there are the yellow. The yellow guys are the people who are charismatic. They are very optimistic. They like to socialize with creative people. You know, they motivate others, they are inspiring others, they have an effect you can see on social settings. So, but the heroes have a very problem with the focus and to finish their project. Those people what let's do this, we can do this and this, but when you ask them after 1 week, nothing has been done. They are positive in speaking or expressing what they do. So that's one thing you can the euros. I think you remember the euros in your friends. Eh? So who are the green then? The green are the loyals, the dependent. They are team oriented. So basically, in their lives, they try to avoid conflict. They don't want problems. So they are excellent team players. They are calm under pressure and they listen very well. For them, the green, they don't like change. That's what you can. They don't like to take they try to avoid conflict at all costs. So how to work with them? You have to be patient. You have to push very hard. You have to emphasize collaboration and security to make them feel like they are secure in what they are doing. And now the other last one, which is the blue guys, they are the analytical one, detail-oriented, methodological. Basically, what you tell them, you have to explain why. Don't just give them an order or anything. They will ask. So they are great planners. They are perfectionists. If you give me this, they will give you details. So they are very slow to adapt because, of course, you have to convince them. How do you work with them? You have to give them detailed information. Avoid rushing them. And respect their need for precision. If they tell you, I need like by this time, you give me precise information. You have to explain to them. So the whole thing about the book is about try to understand the differences and respect them. So try to keep to understand even in how you communicate and how you work with different type of people. Sometimes we may feel like I know these guys. Adjust also your communication. If the red, you know that they are goal oriented. If it's a yellow guy, they need positive vibe, emotional connection. If they are the green guys, appreciate empathy and reassurance. If it is the blue guys, they need facts, data, and logical reasoning. Don't come with a thing where the math is not mathing with the guy who is a blue in terms of character. Hey, so avoid miscommunication when dealing with all different types of personalities because it's very important. So the whole thing also about this book, it gives you an opportunity also of self-reflection. So it encourages the readers to reflect on who they are. There are examples that you feel, this is definitely me. Hey, I'm this red guy. I'm a blue. I'm this blue guy. So because sometimes I need data also to understand things which may look complex to other people. Practical applications, you have to understand this was it can help you improve your friendships, it can help improve the teamwork, avoid unnecessary conflict because we are all different. Even if we are all under this or four types of personalities. So now the book became popular because it's so relatable with so many examples of how do you deal with different types of people. And I found it, I think, is it in a Charisma bookshop, the bookshop here in Ishigari Heights. So in many books I watched it, I was like, I have to read this because I'm one of the people who is trying to understand the human behavior so that you can be able to learn and work with different types of people, who have different types of characters. So because it's very important to be a communicator in this world that uh, is teamwork. So let's look through also some of the characteristics of these types of people. For example, a red guy. The red guy, which stands for dominance, uh, of course, is the guys who, in every set of, for example, you are in a workshop, for example, or you are in a classroom and they give you homework or exercise. In the red guy, this is a guy who will talk from the beginning to the end and will not give other members time to speak. So he talks about how we try to run a workshop and they put the reds in one group. All of them, if it was 5 guys, all of them were fighting and or talking. And because remember, the red guy stands for the dominant guys in terms of types of character. So all of them, remember that we talked about these red or dominance characters are goal-oriented. So if there were 5 guys in a group work, 4 were arguing, not everyone wanting to talk at the same time, blah, 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 blah. So, and one of the reds was just like, these guys are not serious. And he was like taking things and doing things by himself. I'm almost done. So when he checked on the group, so while others were, so basically there are 2 approaches of the reds. They have to argue until one of them comes at the top of the dominance in the argument, or one of them just decides, oh, these guys are wasting my time, and he just decides to do everything by himself or herself. So these are the red types of people, and you can see some of the description of them. They are very aggressive, they are ambitious, they are strong-willed, they are goal-oriented, they are very pushing, they are also problem solvers. They find problems. They are decisive, they are innovator, impatient. Yes, they don't have passions for bullshit. You have to be decision making. Of course, they are powerful. With their dominance, they have managed to create this aurora thing in everything they say or they do. They are good at timekeeping. You can expect them to be good timekeepers. They are intense, they are opinionated, they are straightforward, and they are very independent, the red guys. Now let's dive into the yellow guys. The yellow guys are the talkative guys. They are talkative, they are enthusiastic. Remember, the yellow guys, the yellow stands for influence. So these are the guys who, they are very, everywhere in a group setting that you might find, they are very good at not they are talkative, not as the red guys. The red guys are the dominant guys. They want their whatever their argument to be like the law of the group, or whatever they say is godly. No one can change anything. But the yellow guys are more on the influence side, the motivating side. They are sometimes often good storytellers. But the yellow guys are one of those guys who will promise a lot of things, but they never deliver. That's the difference between the two. The red guys is very dominant in these things, but once you are on his side, you have to, you can be sure that they deliver on what they promised. So the yellow guys, for them, they are very talkative, expressive, they are very charming. They are encouraging, as I mentioned, motivator, they are easygoing, but you can often it's very tough for them to deliver on what they promised. So the green guys. So the green guys are mostly the most passionate from the top 2. They are the most passionate. They are they are easygoing. They are self-controlled. As I mentioned, green, they are the sociable one. They avoid getting to a, if you put them in, let's say, in a group of a red or a green, they will just stand there, they will speak nothing, they just listen and probably write. They won't argue at anything a red is saying or a green is saying, I mean, a yellow is saying. Because for them, they know a red wants to win. They will let them win in whatever argument or conversation that happens. They were including the yellows because they will see them, this is the yellow, he's just talking so many things, and we know that is not going to do. But the most stable one in terms of they are thoughtful, as I mentioned, they conceal their feelings, so they don't want to show their feelings easily. So they are the most kind from the first second two characters. So now let's go to the blue guy. The blue guy is the data-driven guy. If you give them the things where math is not mathing, numbers are not matching, you can't convince them of anything. You have to give them the background of everything. You have to explain to them. You just don't tell them this. If their mind gets on something, this can be also the blue guys can be overthinkers, if I can call it. They are always distant in thinking. So because they are always analyzing things, blah blah blah. Sometimes wrongly because you have to explain them and give them the detailed information. Don't just tell them this thing. Because I mean, as often, always as humans, we always want to be the good ones in any settings. But the book humbles you in this way because you find that I have, for example, some red and the blue. Because I'm the analytical guy in the character, you have to I have to understand why. I'm one of those guys who would spend time thinking about one word or one equation or one topic for a week or 2 weeks, just thinking about it, keeps coming until often I write about it and try to make sense of it. And if I write it, I put it writing and it makes sense, okay. And then that idea or the topic disappears from my head. So that's why I say that one of the blue guys, because I always need facts or I always question. The blue guys are always questioning things. So this is a very good thing book because anyone, you will find yourself in this book and it will. Sometimes you may think you are the weird guy or the idiot guy in the group, or people see you that way. But often it just comes down to our different types of personalities. And there is no one who is as weird as we try to put it, or the idiot. Even if the author, as I mentioned, he used the title surrounded by idiot. So it was just like anyone who is different than you in terms of personality. For example, you may find that someone is doing something and they are like, why? Why can't you do it like me? Eh? Why can't you assess or think things like me? Or this helps, the book can help you understand why different people respond to the same thing differently. You can say, let's drink milk um, for breakfast. Because it's good, and maybe a blue guy will ask you how many calcium are in it, how many minerals are in the milk, how much fat is it in it, blah 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 blah. Try to analyze everything. A yellow guy will just, okay, give me some milk. And the green guy will say, okay, I will drink milk in the morning, every morning. But they never do it. The dominant guy will come up, just do it and do it probably in front of everyone. So this is how basically it helps you understand it. As summarizing, the blue guy, as I mentioned, they are the analytical guys. They are critical. They take a long time to decide. They are narrow-minded. You have to be focused. They are fastidious, but they are also memorizing. And the positive side of the blue guys is they are thoughtful, they are serious, They're pushing, they are demanding, and they are methodological. So the green guys, They can be stubborn because they don't want to change, you know. They don't want trouble. They want to be sometimes. The green guys, they are very compliant, but they can also look like awkward. They are the awkward guys in the group. The green one, their positive side is they are supportive, they are respectful, they respect their leaders and everything. They are reliable and they're pleasant. They try to make everyone happy. So the dominant one, the red guys, who are the dominant one, they are seen as pushy, they are seen as strict, they are of course dominant, and they are seen as hard, to work with, or to collaborate with, or to be friends with. But their good side is that they are positive willed, they are ambitious, they are effective, then they are determined. And the yellow ones, concluding on the yellow one, is that they are inspiring, as I mentioned. They are stimulating, they are enthusiastic, but they are also dramatic. They also like to cause so much drama sometimes, because they are the negative side is yellow guys are also manipulative. They are hot-tempered sometimes. They are undisciplined sometimes. They look undisciplined sometimes. They are egotistic. Hey, their ego, you can't touch their ego. Eh? They are the misses or the Mr. Egos. So I thank you very much for spending the time with us on this episode number 3. The book, as I mentioned, is surrounded by idiots, written by Thomas Erickson, I think, in Kigali. You can find it in Charisma Bookshop if you want your own copy to try to understand yourself, to try to understand different personality traits of the people, your friends, family, colleagues at work, and etc. So I thank you very much. Click like and subscribe if you liked this episode. Thank you.